Hare Krishna. So, today is a very special day for us. We are very fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada's youngest son, Vrindavan Prabhu, his good wife, and his son. So Vrindavan Prabhu is from Calcutta. Prabhupada is from Calcutta, as you all know. And Prabhupada had 3 sons. They all were named after the holy places of pilgrimage. His first son's name was Prayag, second son was Mathura, and the third son is Vrindavan. I had the good fortune of having a lot of association of Vrindavan Prabhu when Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. During Prabhupada's final days last year that Prabhupada was in there, Vrindavan Prabhu spent quite a lot of time there. How much time you spent there? In Prabhupada যখন Vrindavan ছিল? 2-3 মাস? 2-3 মাস. Yeah, about 3 months he stayed in Vrindavan with Srila Prabhupada. Actually, he came in 2-3 occasions actually. So it was quite unexpected actually that only yesterday I got to know that Vrindavan Prabhu came to Indore, and then yesterday he spent in Indore, and today he is here to give us his association. So, are you all happy to see him? How many of us seeing him for the first time? Okay. And how happy you are to see him? So, Vrindavan Prabhu, will you say something? Okay, just these devotees, most of them came from various parts of the world. পৃথিবীর বিভিন্ন জায়গা থেকে এরা এসেছে। এটা আমাদের সেমিনার এই সময়। অবশ্য এই সময় এটা আমাদের সেকেন্ড সেমিনার হচ্ছে। বাট ইন্টারন্যাশনালি পার্টিসিপেশন এরকম বড় পার্টিসিপেশন প্রথম হলো। এরা প্রায় let's see how many of you came from outside of India. Okay, very good. এরা সকলে বিদেশ থেকে এসেছে। Leela Madhuri, Raksha, lazy to even raise your hands. So, why don't you say something? বাংলাতে বলুন, আমি ইংলিশ ট্রান্সলেট করব। So Vrindavan Prabhu will say something in Bengali and I'll translate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah.
I have a father, Prabhupada. I'm very fortunate. After I finished American program, back in 65-64, আমি ওকে সিঙ্গাপুরে গেছিলাম, ক্যানাডা পোর্ট, সিপোর্ট। তখন উনি আমাকে বলেছিলেন, I spent over 1.5 hours with Prabhupada during his journey to USA.
He's saying, I'm very proud to have a father like Srila Prabhupada. Who will not be proud to have a father like Srila Prabhupada? And no, just আমি একটু translate করে দিই. He said, I was very fortunate to be there when Srila Prabhupada was leaving for America in 1965, 18th August. I went to see him off and we spoke for about 1.5 hours. So Prabhupada told him that I have left family, I took sannyas, so I am giving the responsibility to you to take care of your mother, your sister, and other family members. And Prabhupada told him, see, our business is to follow the footsteps of our spiritual master, Mahajano Jana Gatasya Pantha. Very humbly, he is saying that I am offering my respectful obeisances to Maharaj, and I also respect my good wishes. I express my good wishes and respects to all of you. So, it's actually Prabhupada was very concerned about him. When Prabhupada left home, Vrindavan Prabhu was a little child. আপনার বয়স তখন কত ছিল? 17-18. Yeah, he was only 17 years old when Srila Prabhupada left home. And later on Prabhupada expressed his concern and that he left home at a time when he was very young. And as a result of that, Prabhupada had a lot of affection for him. Naturally, he's the youngest son, he had a lot of, but Prabhupada was very, very concerned about him, and he felt, to some extent, he felt guilty also that he left home leaving him so young. And I have seen with my own eyes how much love and affection Prabhupada had for Vrindavan Prabhu. And today we are very fortunate to have him here. Why don't you stay here? আপনি তো আছেন আজকে। আজকে তো কোথায় যাবেন কোথায়? ইন্দোরে ফেরার কি দরকার? আমি আনিয়ে নেব, লাগেজ আনিয়ে নেব। আপনারা মহাকাল দর্শন করি, আসুন, অ্যান্ড উইল স্টে, আপনি স্টে হিয়ার, ইন্দোর এখানেই থাকুন, এখানেই থাকুন। আর আমিও তাহলে একটু কথা বলার সময় পাবো। Okay, his original plan was to stay in Indore, but I succeeded in making him change his plan. And okay, so he'll go for darshan of Mahakaleshwar, and he'll also go to Jagannath temple. and then he'll come back for lunch. And then he will stay here. He wanted to give an excuse, which didn't fly, is that he left his luggage in Indore. Ganganaran Prabhu immediately responded, "That's no problem, we'll send somebody to bring the luggage." So Hare Krishna, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu ki, Gaur Premanande. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Srila Prabhupada ki. Wasn't it a wonderful experience? Yeah, probably it must have been very, very wonderful for you all. Of course, I'm seeing him after a long time. And when I was serving Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan, I saw how affectionate Srila Prabhupada was towards him. And so today is the last day of the seminar, and session-wise, the morning session, I'll cover the last chapter of Uddhav Gita, which is the 29th chapter of 11th canto. And in the afternoon, it will be the conclusion of the seminar. Probably I'll just briefly speak, and then I would like to listen to you all. Some of you will be requested, I think. Did Bimal Krishna Prabhu inform some of you with a special request to speak? And just, it won't be possible for everyone to speak, so like those who are visiting, those who are participating from abroad, we will request some of you to speak. And then let's see. Thank you, Hare Krishna, Gaur Premanande, Hare. So the last chapter is also known as Bhakti Yoga. So what is the conclusion of Uddhav Gita? What is the conclusion of all the Siddhantas? What is the conclusion of all the scriptures? Surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the basis of bhakti, devotion to the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita we find Krishna is telling Arjuna that this knowledge was lost. In the 4th chapter, Krishna is telling that this knowledge, after giving the introduction to the knowledge in the 3rd chapter, Krishna told that this knowledge was lost. And I am re-establishing this knowledge again through you. And what was Arjuna's qualification? What was Arjuna's qualification to receive this knowledge? Bhakto si me sakha cheti. Because you are my devotee and my friend. Therefore, I am revealing This rahasyam hi etaduttamam. Rahasyam means secret. Who do you tell your secret to? Do you tell your secret to anybody and everybody? No. You tell your secret to who are very, very confidential, who are very intimate to you. And that is what devotion does. In order to develop that intimacy, one has to become a devotee, and only the devotees can have this kind of intimate relationship with Krishna. So that is the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is to develop a lost relationship with Krishna. And that is the solution to all problems. What are the root of all problems? Our going away from Krishna. Not even going away from Krishna. Turning our face away from Krishna. Krishna bohir mukh hoiya bhogovancha kare nikotastha maya tare japotiya dhare. Bohir mukh. That expression from the words itself you can see. Mukh means, mu means face. Mukh in Bengali it is mukh. Bohi means outside, away. So when the face becomes away, the face turns away. When the face is this way, then we are seeing Krishna. And when we turn the face away from Krishna, what happens? Nikotastha maya. Just next to Krishna is who? We just happen to turn a little away from, turn the face little away from Krishna. And just next to Krishna, who is there? Maya is there. Maya is just next to Krishna. So the moment we turn our face away from Krishna, we look at Maya. And not only, and as soon as we look at Maya, what Maya does? Maya just embraces us. And I tell you that Maya's embrace is not very pleasant. No matter how beautiful she looks. Krishna's illusory energy, what does it do? It completely loses us, completely makes us lose ourselves. Nikotastha maya tare japotiya dhare, very tightly embraces him. And you can see, can you get out of Maya's clutches, Maya's embrace? Very difficult. But what can release us from the bondage of Maya? What can release us from the embrace of Maya? What? Just again look towards Krishna. Because of looking away from Krishna, we got entangled by Maya. Okay, let me ask you now, how many of you want to become free from Maya's entanglement? Sure? Okay. These children are too young to understand what it is. So if you want to become free from the entanglement of Maya, what do you have to do? Look towards Krishna. Because of looking away from Krishna, we got entangled in Maya. So, the solution of the problem is in going back to what was the cause of this problem. Right? So, turn your face towards Krishna. And that is called Krishna consciousness. And that means bhakti. That means love for Krishna. Love Krishna. Now we may find it difficult to love him because of our diseased condition. In this respect, Prabhupada often gave the example. Prabhupada gave the example of a person suffering from jaundice finds sugar to be bitter. Is sugar bitter? Sugar is sweet. But it is due to the disease of jaundice that one feels that the sugar is bitter. And because one doesn't like bitter taste, he doesn't want to take sugar. But then again, for jaundice, although sugar tastes bitter, but sugar is the cure for jaundice. Keep taking sugar, no matter how bitter it may taste. So similarly, due to our conditioning, due to this disease of our material condition, Krishna is not appearing to be attractive. Although Krishna is all attractive, due to our diseased condition, we feel as if Krishna is not attractive. Many other things are attractive. TV is attractive. TV programs are attractive. All these material allurements are attractive. All these things are appearing to be attractive. Why? Because of our diseased condition. And the real attraction appears to be repulsive. But what to do? The cure is Krishna consciousness also. Whether we like it or not, we have to keep on practicing Krishna consciousness. And that's what is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Bhakti in practice. At that stage, Bhakti is acting as a medicine. And when you become cured, then Bhakti becomes our actual desirable object. So our Vedic scriptures time and time again is giving us this instruction. It's just a matter of becoming cured of the disease. Our material involvement is a diseased condition. Prabhupada used the expression conditioning, conditioned soul, conditioned living entities. What is a conditioning? Diseased condition. That we are attracted to this material nature. Actually, this material nature is very, very repulsive. We are not meant to become attracted to the material nature. Someone who punishes you, do you find him to be attractive? Somebody beats you up, do you find him to be attractive? Somebody harasses you, do you find him to be attractive? But due to a diseased condition, therefore this disease is a kind of mental disease. When somebody becomes mad, he doesn't know what to expect and what not, what to desire and what not. Sometimes you beat the madman and he laughs as if it's great fun. Because his mental makeup is not proper. So that is why we are kind of mad people. It's a mad condition, maddened condition. And that's what has been described. Krishna bohirmukh hoiya bhogovancha kore nikotastha maya tare japotiya dhare. And then what is condition like? Pishachi paile jano motichhanna hoy, maya mugdha jiber hoy shibha budai. Just as when one becomes haunted by a female ghost, not even a male ghost. This is a very special female ghost, Pishachi. Pishachi paile jano motichhanna hoy, just as one loses his sanity When one becomes haunted by a ghost, the one who is bewildered by Maya, his condition becomes like that. Maya mugdha jiber hai shebha uday. So this is our condition. So now we have to try to become cured. So how many of you want to become cured? Very good. So to become cured, you have to take the medicine. What is the medicine? Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavita. Accept Krishna Bhakti. Become involved in this wonderful mellow of this devotion. You may not relish it right now, but it will happen. Keep on practicing. Keep on practicing. And through the practice, it will happen. How it will happen, we don't know, but it will happen. Just like when you take medicine, when you have some serious disease, don't you feel that it's not going to be cured ever? That my condition is going to be like this. But then you take a medicine, and then also you don't really have the faith whether this will work. I know, allopathic medicines don't work. But then you see that you're getting cured. The symptoms of the disease is disappearing. Like when you are diseased, you are in so bad shape. You are in such a bad shape. But when you take the medicine, you start getting better. And then you become cured. And when you become cured, then you forget that you are ever sick. You vaguely remember what actually happened, but you had some stomach problem, you felt that I'm not going to eat anything, you don't have any taste, you don't want to eat anything. But then you take the medicine, your stomach problem is cured. Then you start eating everything and you forget that 2 days back you are thinking that you don't feel like touching any food. So this is how Krishna consciousness also works. Although initially it may appear that, well, it's not working, it won't work for me. But keep on taking the medicine and it will work. And then you'll see how automatically, how spontaneous the love for Krishna is developing. Spontaneous love is developing for Krishna. And is it surprising? No, because Krishna is all attractive. Who can help but get attracted to something that is attractive? So this is the process. And you simply have to follow the process and it will work. It will work. Rest assured it will work. So, Uddhav actually told Krishna, "My dear Lord Achyuta, I fear that the method of yoga described by you is very difficult for one who cannot control his mind. Therefore, please explain to me in simple terms how someone can more easily execute it." Rings the bell? Something from Bhagavad Gita also? What did Arjuna tell Krishna? Chanchala hi mana Krishna. My mind is so fickle, Krishna, how am I going to control it? It's impossible to control the mind. And Uddhav is also making the same point, and he is saying that unless and until the mind is controlled, this process is not going to work, this process of yoga. Because the whole process, as you said, do you remember, isn't the whole process is about how to control the mind. The whole Avanti Brahman song is based on that. Everything is in the mind. Therefore, let me control my mind. It is due to my involvement of the mind, and which is understandable. The consciousness is flowing through the mind. Therefore, our entanglement in this material nature. So, yogis generally try to control the mind, but it's a very, very difficult process. Can you imagine? Arjuna is finding it difficult, Uddhav is finding it difficult. Then who do you think you are? That you will perform this Ashtanga Yoga system and achieve perfection. So the intelligent proposal is, as Uddhav is saying, show me some way that it can be simply executed. Krishna, what you said is not for me. That is what Uddhav is saying. Krishna's eternal associate. The most exalted devotee in Dwarka. So exalted that Krishna sent him to pacify the gopis. So that personality who has constant contact with Krishna, those who has access to the gopis, and he is saying Krishna is not going to work. So show me some simple way. So in this way, what do we learn? Do we need a simpler way, or should we carry on with practicing of this yoga system of the controlling of the mind? Who are for simpler way? Very good. And who is for the simplest way? Very good. I can assure you that we got the simplest way. What Prabhupada gave is even simpler than this. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave is even simpler than this. And Srila Prabhupada made it even simpler. Example, Mahaprabhu very clearly mentioned 64 rounds, 1 lakh name, one chanting of 1 lakh names every day, otherwise I won't even touch his offering. 1 lakh. But what did Prabhupada say? 16 rounds, 25,000. So didn't he make it even simpler? And our assurance is, I don't know whether Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept it, but if I chant 16 rounds and offer something to Srila Prabhupada, then Prabhupada will accept it. Then it is between Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And how can Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say no to Srila Prabhupada? So this is how safe and this is how wonderful our situation is. Now you don't expect that I'm going to say no. Our standard is a standard that has been set by Srila Prabhupada. And none of us will ever be able to rectify that situation. So this is how Krishna consciousness works. In the age of Kali, the process has become so simple. Just 16 rounds of chanting takes maximum 2 hours. Even the slow chanters, 2.5 hours. But do it in the morning. If you don't do it in the morning, I tell you it will take at least 14 hours. You do it in the morning, I'm speaking from my own experience. Otherwise what happens? Even at the end of the day, you started your day at say 4 o'clock, And even at 9 o'clock, oh my God, I have 4 more rounds left. So how long did it take? From 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock? 17 hours to finish your rounds. Why should we leave it at that? Let's just finish 16 rounds the first thing in the morning. Sometimes you also think, okay, I've done 10 rounds, the 6 rounds I'll do it later on. I'll say, don't even do that. Just finish it. Then you're free for the whole day. And you know what Prabhupada said? You chant your 16 rounds and then you can do any nonsense. But the point is, Prabhupada pointed out, that when you chant 16 rounds, then you won't be able to do any nonsense. If you chant your 16 rounds, you can't do any nonsense. So this is how safe and sublime is our situation. O lotus-eyed Lord, generally those yogis who try to steady the mind experience frustration because of their inability to perfect the state of trance. Thus, they vary in their attempt to bring the mind under control. Therefore, O lotus-eyed Lord of the universe, swan-like men happily take shelter of your lotus feet, the source of all transcendental ecstasy. But those who take pride in their accomplishments in yoga and karma fail to take shelter of you and are defeated by your illusory energy. So, just in one verse, Uddhav summed it up, didn't he? Those who are swan-like personalities, they take shelter of your lotus feet. But those who are arrogant, proud of their accomplishments in karma and jnana, they are the ones who can't take shelter of your lotus feet. My dear infallible Lord, it is not very astonishing that you intimately approach your servants who have taken exclusive shelter of you. After all, during your appearance as Lord Ramchandra, even while great demigods like Lord Brahma were vying to place the effulgent tips of their helmets upon the cushion where your lotus feet rested, you displayed special affection for monkeys such as Hanuman, because they had taken exclusive shelter of you. Isn't it wonderful? During the pastimes of Lord Brahma, Lord Ramchandra, even Lord Brahma couldn't place his crowned, beautifully crowned head at not even at his feet, at the cushion where Lord Ramchandra's feet were resting. Whereas that same Ramchandra embraced Hanuman, embraced Sugriva. Why? Because they had taken shelter of you, exclusive shelter of you. So that shows the benefit of surrendering to the lotus feet of the Lord. So in this way we can also see that surrendering to the lotus feet of the Lord is not going to take place by placing our head at His feet, but developing our love for Him in the heart. So that is what really matters, developing that love for Krishna. Who then could dare reject you, the very soul, the most dear object of worship, and the supreme Lord of all? You who give all possible perfections to the devotees who take shelter of you, who could be so ungrateful knowing the benefits you bestow? Who would reject you and accept something for the sake of material enjoyment, which simply leads to forgetfulness of you? And what lack is there for us who are engaged in the service of the dust of your lotus feet? So that's why we see that devotees are not interested in material success. They are not interested either in material success, they are also not put out by material difficulties. Rather, from this statement we see that material difficulties are more desirable to a devotee, because the material difficulties will enable him, facilitate him to depend upon Krishna more, to think of Krishna more. So their only concern is how to become Krishna conscious. If all the comforts of the material nature is going to take us away from Krishna, then who wants that material comfort? And if the worst material difficulties are going to make us, bring us close to Krishna and make us Krishna conscious, then why should we be afraid of that? O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma, for you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya, as internally as the Super Soul, to deliver the embodied living beings by directing him how to come to you. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests in two ways. He appears as the Acharya, externally and internally as the Super Soul. Externally as the personality who guides you to Krishna, and internally who initially is watching you, what you are doing, but eventually he also begins to direct you. The Super Soul for a devotee becomes Chaitya Guru. Otherwise, the Super Soul is just a witness. Upadrashta Anumantacha. Upadrashta means witness. And Anumanta means one who approves. Sitting in our heart, Krishna is actually approving our desires. We desire something, and the Super Soul calculates. Do you have enough piety? If you have enough piety, fine, have it. It's something like you want something and the bank calculates how much credit you have and says, okay, fine, take it if you have the money. So Super Soul's situation is like that. That is for the conditioned soul. But for a devotee of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord, the Super Soul becomes the Chaitya Guru, the spiritual master within. He guides you. And at that stage a devotee questions, should I do this? And he listens to the Super Soul. When the spiritual master is present, when we are less advanced, then we need to listen to a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. What should I do? Please guide me. And he guides us. But then when that spiritual master is not present, and we remain fixed in this path of devotion, then Krishna, who is situated in our hearts as the super soul, becomes that guru, called Chaitya Guru, and continues to guide us. Then Krishna started to answer Uddhav's questions. Always remembering me, one should perform all his duties for me without becoming impetuous. With mind and intelligence offered to me, one should fix his mind in attraction to my devotional service. One should take shelter of holy places where my saintly devotees reside. And one should be guided by the exemplary activities of my devotees, who appear among the demigods, demons and human beings. So that is Mahajano Jano Gatasya Pantha. So we reside in a holy place. Which is a holy place? Where Krishna is present. And where my saintly devotees reside, and one should be guided by the exemplary activities of Krishna's devotees. Either alone or in public gatherings, with singing, dancing and other exhibitions of royal opulence, one should arrange to celebrate those holy days, ceremonies and festivals set aside specially for our worship. That means arrange for great celebration to specially glorify Krishna and worship Krishna. Invite people and tell them about the importance of becoming Krishna conscious. With a pure heart one should see me, the Supreme Soul within all beings and also within oneself. To be both unblemished by anything material and also present everywhere, both externally and internally. Sorry. Just like the omnipresent sky. O brilliant Uddhava, one who thus views all living entities with the idea that I am present within each of them, and who, by taking shelter of the divine knowledge, offers due respect to everyone, is considered actually wise. So, those who see Krishna in the heart of every living entity, those who see Krishna even in their own hearts and being present everywhere, Krishna is present everywhere, they are truly wise people. This wisdom is not a matter of scholarship. This wisdom is a matter of developing perfect vision. It's the perfection of perception. Such a man sees equally the Brahmana and the outcast, the thief and the charitable promoter of Brahminical culture, the sun and the tiny spark of fire, the gentle and cruel. So this is how he actually develops his equal vision. Pandita Samadarshina. Yeah, who can develop such equal vision? One who is able to see the Lord in the heart of everyone. Because when you know that the Lord is in the heart of everyone, then when you are dealing with them, how will you deal with them? You will see. So he sees everyone in the Supreme Lord is in the heart of everyone. Then how will his dealing with them? Won't he always remember, oh, the Lord is sitting in his heart and he is seeing how I'm dealing with him. Rather, let me deal with him properly. So, so that is how he can develop the equal vision. And then in his eyes, the external appearance, the physical condition becomes irrelevant. He doesn't see his situation due to his external physical condition. Rather, he sees him that the Lord is situated in his heart, and whatever is externally appearing is just a result of his past karmic reaction. Today, if he is beautiful, handsome, it's past karma. If he is ugly, that's also due to his past karma. But within the body, the spirit soul is there, and along with the spirit soul, Krishna is also there. So that's what matters to him. Sthabor jangam dekhe, na dekhe tar murti, sarvatra sphuraye tar ishta deva sphurti. He sees the moving and non-moving things, but he doesn't see that external form. Everywhere he sees his worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of God. So that is the vision of a self-realized soul. That is the vision of a pure devotee. For him, who constantly, so this is how one actually can constantly meditate upon the Supreme Personality of God. He doesn't have to separately meditate on the Lord. He simply has to feel the presence of the Lord in the heart of everyone. He doesn't have to go through this arduous process of meditation. But he should simply consider that the Lord is there in everyone. Haribol, can somebody inform and not bang there? What to do? Mind goes there. For him who constantly meditates upon me, my presence within all persons, the bad tendencies of rivalry, envy, and abusiveness, along with false ego, are very quickly destroyed. Disregarding the ridicule of one's companions, one should give up the bodily conception and its accompanying embarrassment. One should offer obeisances before all, even the dogs, outcasts, cows, and asses, falling flat upon the ground like a rod. He is ready to offer respect to everyone. Until one has fully developed the ability to see me within all living beings, one must continue to worship me by this process with the activities of his speech, mind and body. These are the three important factors. Remember, there was some question about sannyas danda. So what one is, these three dandas are representing body, mind and speech or words. Kai, man, kai means body, man means mind and bak means words or speech. Speech. Body, mind and speech should be offered to Krishna or engaged in serving Krishna. That is the real meaning of sannyas. Until one has fully developed the ability to see me within all living beings, one must continue to worship me by this process with the activities of the speech, mind and body. By such transcendental knowledge of the all-pervading personality of Godhead, one is able to see the absolute truth everywhere. Freed thus from all doubts, one gives up fruitive activities. Indeed, I consider this process, using one's mind, words and bodily functions for utilizing me within all living beings, to be the best possible method of spiritual enlightenment. Now Krishna himself is admitting that serving him through the body, mind and speech is the best way to please him. My dear Uddhava, because I have personally established it, this process of devotional service unto me is transcendental and free from any material motivation. Certainly a devotee never suffers even the slightest loss by adapting this process. So, another very important point, Krishna is saying by accepting this process, certainly a devotee never loses anything. What to speak of losing? They gain everything. That's why sometimes I ask you all, how many of you think that your quality of life and everything has improved ever since you joined ISKCON? Right. And how many of you think that you have lost something by joining ISKCON? Yes, you lost something. All your bad karma is what you have lost. And because the bad karma, aham tvang sarva papibhyo moksha ishyami, because Krishna has wiped out all your bad karma, therefore no suffering. Nothing bad will happen to you. This is also a very important point to note. One who very liberally disseminates this knowledge among my devotees is the bestower of the absolute truth, and to him I give my very own self. Didn't Krishna say that also after telling Bhagavad Gita? He is saying that don't speak this knowledge to those who are inimical towards me, envious of me, those who don't have any austerity, and those who have any, don't have any submission, don't give it to them. But those who give it to my devotees, he is the most dear to me, and no one will be as dear to me as he is. Nacha tasmat manusheshu. Among the human beings, there is no one as dear to me who distributes this knowledge to my devotees. And no one will ever be as dear to me as he is. One who liberally disseminates this knowledge among my devotees is the bestower of the absolute truth, and to him I give my very own self. Now here Krishna is saying, to whom he gives his self? Those who distributes Krishna consciousness to his devotees. He who loudly recites this supreme knowledge, which is the most lucid and purifying, becomes purified day by day, for he reveals me to others with the lamp of transcendental knowledge. So what Krishna is actually instructing here, go out and preach. Go out and preach. Don't become complacent just by becoming a devotee yourself. By practicing the process yourself is not enough. Go out and give it to others. Then only Krishna will appreciate it. One who regularly listens to this knowledge with faith and attention, all the while engaging in my pure devotional service, will never become bound by the reactions of material work. My dear friend Uddhava, have you now completely understood this transcendental knowledge? Are the confusion and lamentation that arose in your mind now dispelled? Then Krishna asked Arjuna the same way. You should not share this instruction with anyone who is hypocritical, atheistic and dishonest, or with anyone who will not listen faithfully, who is not a devotee, or he is simply not humble. One should not give it to these people. So, those who are hypocritical, pretentious, says one thing and does another thing, they are known as hypocrites. Those who are atheistic or dishonest, and those who are not faithfully going to listen. Those who don't listen faithfully, and who is not a devotee or who is simply not humble. To them this knowledge should not be given. This knowledge should be taught to one who is free from these bad qualities, who is dedicated to the welfare of the Brahmanas, and who is kindly disposed, saintly and pure. And if common workers and women are found to have devotion to the Supreme Lord, they are also to be accepted as qualified hearers. Someone may think, why Krishna is so cruel to the women? That he is even to the women, as if the women are not smart enough. But we have to understand in this respect that those days the women stayed inside the house. They didn't come out. They didn't interact with anyone other than the family members. What to speak of they didn't interact with anyone other than the family members? They didn't interact with any man, even her husband during the daytime, generally. That is called Andar Mahal, inside of the house. The women stayed there. And during daytime, men did not go into that area. So that is how Vedic culture was. And because the women always stayed inside, therefore, they did not interact with outsiders, or they did not cultivate this knowledge like that. There was no question of women becoming practicing yoga and things like that, Ashtanga yoga, or attending discourses, or having a chat with the spiritual master. They stayed inside. And as I said, like the men didn't even go. Only during lunchtime probably, the women would serve them. So that is how the Vedic, that was how the women used to be during the Vedic time. And that's why they're kept in that category. But that doesn't mean that they were any less than anyone else. We have seen Kunti Devi, we have seen Draupadi, we have seen so many very, very exalted personalities. And not only that, Kshatriya women could even drive a chariot, ride on a horseback. When Krishna kidnapped Subhadra, when Arjun kidnapped Subhadra, Arjun was alone and he was attacked. So he was fighting. So it was difficult for him to ride the horse, control the horses, to ride the chariot and fight. So Subhadra took up the rein and she was riding the chariot. That is one example Krishna gave when Balaram got upset that Krishna kidnapped Subhadra. Arjun kidnapped Subhadra. Then Krishna pacified him by saying that various things he said, that Arjun was the most deserving candidate. Balaram thought that Duryodhana was the most deserving candidate. And then Krishna pointed out that Arjun was actually the most deserving candidate for Subhadra. And then at one point he actually mentioned that, see, she was willing. He may have kidnapped her, but it was not against her will. She was willing. Didn't you see how she was driving the chariot? If she was not willing, she could have driven the chariot back home. But she didn't do that. She assisted him in the fight. So this is how we can see the Kshatriya women. Like they were so, even as recent as during the British time, maybe about 150 years ago, there was a queen of a state called Jhansi, which was not very far from here. And she was a widow, and the British came to take over her kingdom. And she fought. She led the army. She fought. A woman fought, led the army. But otherwise she was only inside the house, like a queen would not come out otherwise. This way we can see that they were actually very well trained, although they remained in the inner sanctum of the house. When an inquisitive person comes to understand this knowledge, he has nothing further to know. Jasmin vigyate sarvam evam vigyatam bhavati. Knowing this, everything becomes known. Then, is there anything more to learn? No. Krishna consciousness is the ultimate end of all knowledge. Vidya Bhagavat Avadhi. Avadhi means up to the point, up to that. Knowledge is only up to Srimad Bhagavatam. That means knowledge about Krishna. Through analytic knowledge, ritualistic work, mystic yoga, mundane business, and political rule, people seek to advance in religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. But because you are my devotee, whatever men can accomplish in these multifarious ways, you will very easily find within me. A person who gives up all fruitive activities and offers himself entirely unto me, eagerly desiring to render service unto me, achieves liberation from birth and death, and is promoted to the status of sharing my own opulences. See what an amazing achievement, right? But what is the qualification? See, the qualification is to give up all fruitive activities and offer oneself entirely to Krishna, eagerly desiring to render service unto Him. Then he will not only achieve liberation from birth and death, but will be promoted to the status of sharing Krishna's own opulences. See, what we are sacrificing? Our own tendency to enjoy with whatever little we have. And what is the return? Getting all the opulence of Krishna. It is a kind of a very generous offer, or a balanced trading. Krishna is saying, give me whatever you have, and I'll give you everything I have. Can you see? Like our condition is, all we have is a baking bowl. And that also has a big hole in it. And Krishna is saying, give me that one. I said, no. If I give it to you, then how will I bake tomorrow? But Krishna says, give it to me and I'll give you everything that I have. But still our attitude is, I don't trust you. So that is the unfortunate situation that we are in. Krishna is saying, give me a baking bowl with a big hole in it, and I will give you all that I have. So those who are intelligent, what they will say, take it, Krishna. Please take it. And take me also. And engage me in your loving devotional service. That is the attitude of a devotee. Take everything that I have and please take me also. In this respect, there is a very beautiful song by Surdas. He is describing the Gajendra Mokshan, how Krishna delivered the Gajendra, the king of elephants. Dwarka say, when Gajendra prayed to Krishna, then Krishna came straight from the spiritual sky. द्वारका से चले गोपाल गरुड़ के बिछारे चक्र से ग्राहों को मारी गजराज को उधारे. By severing the head of the crocodile, he delivered the king of elephants, Gajendra. And then Surdas is saying, सूर कहे श्याम सुनो शरणई तुहारे अब हमारे पार करो हे नंद के दुल्हारे. So Surda kahe, Surdas is saying, Shyama suno, hey Krishna, please listen to my prayer. Sharanai tohare, I am taking shelter of you. And just as you delivered the Gajendra, in the same way, please deliver me also. So that is the prayer of a devotee. Take everything that I have, and even please take me also. So that is how simple the process is. That is how wonderful a deal it is also. What is a good business? Little investment, maximum profit. Isn't it? So what's our investment? The begging bowl. Offer it to Krishna. Krishna, this is my investment. And what is the return? All of Krishna's opulence. So Sukadeva Goswami is now saying, hearing these words spoken by Lord Krishna and having thus been shown the entire path of yoga, Uddhava folded his hands to offer obeisances, but his throat choked up with love and his eyes overflowed with tears, so he could say nothing. Steadying his mind, which had become overwhelmed with love, Uddhava felt extremely grateful to Lord Krishna, the greatest hero of the Yadu dynasty. My dear King Parikshit, Uddhava bowed down to touch the Lord's lotus feet with his head and then spoke with folded hands. Sri Uddhava said, O unborn primeval Lord, although I had fallen into the greatest darkness of illusion, my ignorance has now been dispelled by your merciful association. Indeed, how can cold, darkness, and fear exert their power over one who has approached the brilliant sun? How can cold, darkness, and fear exert their power over one who has approached the brilliant sun? In return for my insignificant surrender, you have mercifully bestowed upon me, your servant, the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, what devotee of yours who has any gratitude could ever give up your lotus feet and take shelter of another master? The firmly binding rope of my affection for the families of the Dasharas, Dasarhas, Brishnis, Andhakas and Sattvatas, a rope you originally cast over me by your illusory energy for the purpose of developing your creation, is now cut off by the weapon of transcendental knowledge of the self. Obeisances unto you, O greatest of yogis. Please instruct me, who am surrendered unto you, how I may have undeviated attachment to your lotus feet. How I may have undeviated attention and attachment to your lotus feet. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Uddhava, take my order and go to my ashrama called Badarika. Purify yourself by both touching and also bathing in the holy waters there, which have emanated from my lotus feet. Rid yourself of all sinful reactions with the sight of the sacred Alokananda river. Dress yourself in bark and eat whatever is naturally available in the forest. Thus, you should remain content and free from desire, tolerant of all dualities, good-natured, self-controlled, peaceful, and endowed with transcendental knowledge and realization. With fixed attention, meditate constantly upon these instructions I have imparted to you and assimilate their essence. Fix your words and thoughts upon me, and always endeavor to increase your realization of my transcendental qualities. In this way, you will cross beyond the destinations of the three modes of nature and finally come back to me. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus addressed by Lord Krishna, whose intelligence destroys all the sufferings of material life, Sri Uddhava circumambulated the Lord and then fell down, placing his head upon the Lord's feet. Although Uddhava was free from the influence of all material dualities, his heart was breaking, and at this time of departure, he drenched the Lord's lotus feet with his tears. Greatly fearing separation from him for whom he felt such indestructible affection, Uddhava was distraught, and he could not give up the Lord's company. Finally, feeling great pain, he bowed down to the Lord again and again, placed the slippers of his master upon his head, and departed. Thereupon, placing the Lord deeply within his heart, the great devotee Uddhava went to Badarikashram. By engaging there in austerities, he attained to the Lord's personal abode, which had been described to him by the only friend of the universe, Lord Sri Krishna himself. Thus, Lord Krishna, whose lotus feet are served by all great yoga masters, spoke to his devotees this narration of knowledge, which comprises the entire ocean of spiritual bliss. Anyone in this universe who receives this narration with great faith is assured of liberation. I offer my obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original and greatest of all beings, Lord Sri Krishna. He is the author of the Vedas, and just to destroy his devotees' fear of material existence, like a bee, he has collected this nectarian essence of all knowledge and self-realization. Thus, he has awarded to his many devotees this nectar from the ocean of his bliss, and by his mercy, they have drunk it. Shri Shri Uddhav Gita ki Gaur Premanande